Welcome to another episode of the Modern Day Spiritualist. I am your conversation leader, Zokai, and in today's a very exciting episode, we will be talking about making the transition from church to ancestors with Miss Sin. Welcome to the show, Miss Sin.
Hi, hi. How are you?
I'm great, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for
Good.
having me.
Oh, my pleasure. Tell us a little bit about yourself, just so that people can get to know you a little bit.
Well, I am a mom of six, and I am working in the medical field. I love working in the medical field because I love helping people. So I started that a long time ago when my grandmother got sick with cancer, and my whole family is business. So I decided that I didn't want to be as naive as we was when she was, so I got in the medical field.
Hmm.
And in the midst of that, life happened here and there. And, I was always raised in the church. So before I know it, after having my kids and splitting with, their father, I wound up getting into church really heavy to the point that I became an ordained minister.
Okay.
And, I still to this, actually, I preached today crazily. And one moment, I think my relationship with God, the creator, whoever you want to, call him, spirit, um, the great I am. uh, he showed me that it's deeper than what church is. Church is kind of superficial. I feel like it's like the baby milk to
Mhm.
spirituality. It kind of
Mm.
introduces you to what, is possible. And it's up to you how deep you want to go. And so I really wanted to go deeper because the world in which I see is so ugly and nasty. And since I was young, I always knew it was more. Actually, I think when I was 12, 13, I used to write God letters and tell him, why would he send me here? But the older I get, it's something that I'm supposed to say. And we all are in our own individual ways or
Right.
whatever. But so it made me go deeper. And so, it's to the point of spiritualists. And, I found out how the people before us did help us. It's certain ones that decide not to be selfish and just go on to glory and want to really help us through the process so that our bloodline can do what it's supposed to do.
So what were you taught about the ancestors?
I was taught that it was certain ones that are assigned to you, and you even have angels, and that you should really get in tune with them because there's a lot of information
What were you
that you
taught
get.
from church though, like before you knew about them in
See,
that
they
way?
didn't, the church doesn't speak of that in that fashion. It's Jesus or whatever, Mary or whatever. They teach you that, but they don't talk about the part of your ancestors. They actually in church world, it's like let the dead rest. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? And
Exactly.
the more and more that I, grow in my own spirituality, I'm starting to learn that's why the power that we're supposed to have is diminished. Because if he made us in his image, we are the only being that is made in his image. And he gave us dominion. These are all the things the church says, right? So
Mhm.
why wouldn't he give us extra tools to be powerful, knowing that it's going to be entities that don't want us to realize who we are?
Exactly. You said a mouthful right there. Why would the creator bring us here and leave us ill equipped? It
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't happen, right? Doesn't make sense.
Mm-mm.
So it only makes sense that it had to be something, some other source left for us so that we can navigate this space that we're in beyond just the
Yeah.
church because like you said it's not always enough in the church, and then there's
Yeah.
always something that happens, especially once we get that revelation that is a little bit deeper. There's always
Mm-hmm.
something that happens that really gives us that push right into the ancestors
Yeah.
arms. What
Yeah.
was that
Yeah.
main event that happened for you?
Um, I'm not gonna tell you no story. My daughter getting murdered. Um, And the reason I said that is because of this. It's not even sorrowful. It was like it ignited me to want to even know more about that side, because what's crazy is I heard her voice clear as day because I was already training myself. You get what I'm saying? To talk to my grandmother, or talk to, you know what I'm saying, whatever angels God has predestined to be guardian over me. You know what I'm saying? I learned the
Mhm.
difference between the ones that is, and I'm still learning, you know, but I started to learn the difference in the voices that are speaking good and wanting me to prosper towards where I'm supposed to be. And now that she's gone, it's like I want to be that much more, because it's so many young people that are stuck on materialistic. They don't understand that that's just a small thing that you can manifest.
Mhm.
That's just a dropping of the power that you to get material things. Anybody can do that. That's
Mhm.
simple.
Yeah.
You can manifest that quickly. But to be able to dig deeper and manifest your actual purpose in your eyesight, like even when I preach in church now today, what makes it so funny? We had the guy preacher who preached before me, and he had more of that hooping and yada yada yada. And I don't feel like I'm that type of the minister or whatever. I don't. The title really don't care to me. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying what I'm supposed to say,
Mhm.
because I feel like it's a teacher in me because of what I've been through. Is a generation that needs to be helped. So I went to preaching, and my style is so much different because I'm not preaching we waiting on Jesus. I'm preaching he gave us the authority when we gonna use our power.
Right. That's
At
good.
what point are you gonna join the army for real, and let's make some stuff really move, and we can actually make heaven on earth if we use the power.
Mhm.
But it got to be more than one or two, and we got to be serious and really, really, really utilize this for the light and not the dark, because it's easy to get slipped into, I believe. That's why you
Very
have to have
easy.
a really good coach. You know
Mhm.
what I'm saying? A mentor that's really going to help guide you and keep you grounded, so that you know that she knows or he knows um the outcome, and they're your best interest is at heart with them. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah, that they got your best interest at heart always and they not leading you astray.
Right,
So when
right.
you first started working with the ancestors, what did that transition look like from you going to the church and now you're starting to move with the ancestors? What was that like for you? What did that look like for you?
It was very nerve wracking. I'm not gonna lie to you, because it's like I had to go against everything almost. I'm not gonna say everything, but a nice chunk of what I was taught in the church,
Mhm.
because it was like in their eyes it's looking like, are you trusting on something else more than Jesus? It's like, no, I'm doing what he told me, because Peter had power. And like, when you did, are y'all reading the same Bible I'm reading?
Right.
There's some
Right.
stuff going on in this thing, and his power from not just Jesus. He left them power. It's a whole part in the Bible where Peter was using his gifts,
Mhm.
and a magician came to him and wanted to purchase it. And he told him, if you want to buy it, then you're not worthy, because if it's in you, it's in you. It's going to come out either way.
Exactly. Mhm.
So, I mean, if you ain't got it, you can fly and be Cleo if you want to, but you ain't going to have no real substance to you. You're not going to really be healing and helping people.
So what was from some of the first things that you started to do working with the ancestors?
I want to say, really just searching me, seeing, really figuring out who I was, you know what I'm saying, centering. And because I was such a people person, I think I never had sat down with myself.
Mhm.
And by sitting down with myself, I got to see that, I was amazing. You know what I'm saying? And I got to see that my gifts were already working in my favor, and I was doing stuff that I actually didn't even know I was doing. I was just living, and I was like, I had this mentality by any means necessary. You know what I'm saying? As long as
Mhm.
this was good, and it's for me and my kids good, it's not hurting nobody, it ain't going against no morals, values, and nothing like that, I'm gonna get it. you know, and not knowing that in that go getter mentality, I'm manifesting what I want. You know what I'm saying? It's like, yes, I'm doing the work, but I've already fixated my mind on that. And that's a gift. You know what I'm saying? Because I started when you see it actually coming to pass in your eyesight.
Mhm.
Like I know how, when like some people take it for granted to just write something down. And like what I would do is I would put it on Habakkuk.
Okay.
I would put it on Habakkuk. Um, I would put it on Habakkuk. And all of those things I put on there came to pass.
Mm.
So with my believing in the word, because the word is the sword, because your words is what I literally just told one of my kids this. You just like people call it spells, but most people catch spells on themselves every day. I wish a nigga would. I wish a chick would. And then when
Mhm.
it come to pass in your life, you wondering why, because that's what you are speaking.
Exactly.
So you're
Exactly.
casting a spell on yourself. So I stopped doing that. I started to focus on those things because my mentor is like really like she calling like and sometimes that's all you need is that person to call out those little things for you to pay attention to. They can't make you change it, but it's up to you if you really want it.
Mhm.
And I wanted it. I want to be able to be at a place of peace and be in my purpose because I did all the other riffraff and that didn't get me where I was wanted to be internally. But when I work in my purpose, it gives me a sense of joy and happiness.
What's your daily routine like with them? I know you mentioned you had wrote some things out and you put it on Habakkuk. Do you have a daily routine with your ancestors?
Well, yeah. Normally I get up in the morning. I speak to them. My grandmama like coffee, so I try to make sure I put coffee on the table. I do try to keep fresh flowers up there. I take a card every day. I pull a card, talk to them, and just see where my day is gonna go. And I kind of even as I'm moving, I think I'm kind of silent, trying to listen to see if there's anything that's I need to hear. You know,
Mhm.
um, and I kind of move slightly now. I'm not moving as quickly because what you find out is when you start your day like that, you never know what which point they're gonna decide to give you the information. So move lightly, just kind of move gracefully, and I wait for it. And then some days they have something to say. Some days I must be doing what I'm supposed to be doing because they have nothing to say. But I pretty much make sure in the morning, I pray and I spend a little time with them to see if they got anything to say to me. I even a lot of times in my night talking to them. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Um, it might not be as formal as in the morning, but I do make sure I close out my day with like chopping it up with them.
And why is that connection so important for you? Because I know it can be hard, especially when we have so much going on in our lives. It can be hard to connect with them one time a day. And for you, you're doing that two times a day. Why is that connection so important for you?
Well, that's my piece. Like literally every my
Facts.
life is chaotic. You know what I'm saying? So to have a moment to sit up and chop it up with them, like actually is a moment of peace. And like I say, even with the ancestors, like even just having a conversation with spirit, you know what I'm saying? Like to just take that moment and like me, I don't care where I'm at. I would chop it up with them in my car. You know what I'm saying? I like they with me. They walk with
Right.
me. They see it, so but I try to designate a little moment just out of respect. You know what I'm saying? Because they could have went on and rest, but they saw fit to say, you know what, let me help them out.
Mhm.
You know, and I'm grateful for that. And so I just look like it's brought me so far in a good way that it's something that I mean, it's like it's a part of my life now, and I wouldn't change it because it is actually helping me prosper Whereas what I was doing before had me a little stagnant
Mhm.
and upset and like really not happy. And like, don't get me wrong, you get the high when you go to church, but then the thing about church is they give you so much surface, superficial stuff, the ritual, oh praise God, but they not giving you, okay, step one,
Mhm.
step two,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? And
That's a
once you
lot
learn how
missing.
when you start talking to your ancestors, they give you three, four, five,
They give you
and,
practical life application.
right. And so then when you're going in your day to day, yes, you make decision for yourself, but it helps you make I say more positive, light filled, decisions.
What advice, Miss Sam, would you give to somebody who's just making their transition from the church to the ancestors?
I say be patient with yourself and trust that if you were in church, you know spirit's voice.
Mhm.
And no matter what, never detour from his voice. You know what I'm saying? And know that everything that he gave you is for his good. You know, I always refer to this when people tell me, why do I speak to my ancestors? I say, well, even Jesus went and talked to Abraham, Isaac, and Moses in the mountains with Peter. So if God thought it was fit for that son, since I'm his child, why wouldn't he see fit for me to talk to somebody?
That's a good point. I can't wait to tell somebody that. That was good. I
you
like it.
know,
Mhm.
what are you doing it for? Are you doing it for evil? If you're doing it for evil, then you're not doing it for God. But if you're doing it for something that's good and light and helpful and healing, I feel like it's all for his glory. And like I say, it's I always say, you call God what you want to call him. That's a
Mhm.
personal relationship. I tell my kids, if y'all want to call him big homie in the sky, that's cool. You know what I'm
Because
saying? He's
sometimes that's what
in
God
his,
is for us. Sure.
because think about it, what he say in his word. I got many names. He ain't never said he had one.
Right.
It's whatever fits comfortable with your culture, personality, all of that. This is spirituality. Is not religion. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? And religion is the way in which you decide to worship him. But that's not who he is. He is relationship and spiritual. You are a spiritual being having a human experience.
Correct. Correct. And I think that's the part that a lot of our fellow churchgoers and members, that's the part that they miss. They miss
Mhm.
the relational piece. They get so caught up in the religion that they
Mhm.
miss the most important piece, which is the relationship. And then that's why
Yeah.
they're confused about why things aren't moving in their life the way that it should, or why they feel
Yeah.
stagnant, or why they feel like that something is missing. It's because you don't have
Yeah.
the relationship side of it.
Exactly. Because I feel like now my relationship with God is a whole thing now. I can wrap my mind around a lot. Granted, like I say, it's still a whole lot that I am willing to learn.
Mhm.
But I feel like once you get the lesson, he brings you home. It's just that
Yeah.
you instill it in enough people that the message that he gave you will keep going.
So as your mentor, watching you grow and develop has been such a joy for me personally. And it's a constant reminder of why I do what I do. I definitely see so many changes and differences in you, but I want to know from you, how has life been different from in your own words?
I'm lighter. I used to carry a lot of weight. And I found out that you don't have to carry that. And if you actually work your stuff the way you're supposed to, it won't weigh on you. You will deal with it, and it's gonna go where it's going with that energy or whatever, that principality, whatever will dissipate, because you've been and done your part, whether spiritual work or cleansing or whatever you need to do. You've done your due diligence to keep yourself protected, because a lot of times I'm finding out it's a lot of the residue of the junk that's
Mhm.
weighing us down, and you got to cleanse that out. So
Yeah.
I've learned to, out, the things that I do. Even with that, like I say, I do spiritual baths. You know what I'm saying? That lightens my load. I don't feel so heavy.
Mhm.
In the week, because what you got to understand is, and that's another thing I learned about being an empath. I feel other people's energy. Like a lot of times, I was stagnant in my life because I'm thinking it's my feelings and it's somebody else's feelings. I wondered why I didn't like being in crowds because I'm feeling everybody junk. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? That don't mean that I'm saying I'm psychic or nothing. It's just I feel it. My bad. Hey, I wish I could ask for it. It just happened.
Yeah.
And so, I learned how to cut that off and distinguish my feelings. If I woke up today and I'm okay, I'm okay. Now, maybe it's somebody around me. Now, sometimes I used to, when I first learned that I could, feel people's stuff, I was trying to help everybody, but that becomes draining.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So you have to do stuff in moderation. You know what I'm saying? You got to make sure that you got yourself, as my mentor say, grounded. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? And some stuff just ain't your business just because you feel it.
Right. Right. And don't take it on.
Right, right.
Yeah.
So, that even helped me because I got to distinguish that I have the right to say when and where my gifts, you know what I'm saying? Like, okay, I acknowledge that you there, but my hours are 9 to 5.
Hello. You gotta let them know. What are the office hours? Okay.
Yes, because they'll talk to you all day, all night.
Yeah. So we know that everything that we're practicing, we're learning are ancient systems that
Mhm.
our ancestors have left for us as a roadmap, really, for us to navigate this dimension. What to you, what does it mean to be a modern day spiritualist?
I feel honored, to be honest, because like it's crazy that you say that, because you say ancestors, and you think about somebody who had a gift that is like monumental, right? We could talk about Harriet Tubman. You can't tell me her ancestors wasn't telling her how to move. You can't tell me. She
Mhm.
saved a lot of people by not listening to everybody telling her she was crazy. But she had to learn how to cut off, because see, she was fainting because she was using too much of herself.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? But they don't want to talk about the gift, because if I talk about the gift, you know what I'm saying, then we have to start isolating who actually has these type of gifts. Native Americans, Africans, people who actually lived off the land and not destroyed or took from.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? They
Yeah.
they they, they want to diminish and demolish and get rid of and make everything that is of our cultures wicked and evil. You know what I'm saying? But they manifesting in their own ways. It's just not for your good.
Right. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
Cindy, thank you so much. This was so good. I appreciate you being on today. And for
No
those of you
problem.
out there listening, if you need a little help making those transitions, let's start with some coaching.
Hmm.
I offer one-on-one coaching. So it's one targeted area that you can get coaching in to help you reach your goals. You can apply for that program in the Work With Me section of the website. That's scrolling down below if you're watching on YouTube. If you're listening on podcast, it's zokai.co. And we will see you next time.